on the right YouTube page again. Yeah, unlike last time.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is though. I'm pretty sure I made sure I didn't click the wrong one. So yeah, what's up, man? Listen, long time no talk. This is, as you said, the calm before the storm, when we're going to have a situation where we're gonna have announcements at the Game Awards, which to me is great. I think I'm happy for the Game Awards, especially at the end of the year. It gives me something to look forward to. And I'll repeat this: anyone complain about the Game Awards, just like kindly fuck off, go somewhere else. Stop bitching, stop crying about it. You know how you don't gotta watch it, like you don't gotta spoil it for everyone else. So that's my take on it. There haven't been too many rumors in relation to what we're gonna get. I have a friend who knows something, but he's not gonna reveal it because he doesn't want to spoil his source or whatever. Who do you think is going to, I guess, from a publisher point of view, who do you think is going to win? This time around, is going to be Xbox. I think they're going to drop a lot because listen, when they dropped Blade last year, that was a pretty good win, right?
Yeah.
And Nintendo don't really drop much. I think they dropped Bayonetta, the Bayonetta trailer, which didn't really do much. Sony didn't really do anything. They did give a free DS.
Your mic is cutting in and out.
Oh shit! Hold on a sec. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to keep it like this. So what are your thoughts? Do you expect any big announcements?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I do expect big announcements. I think my dark horse is Sony. I don't know when Sony's schedule when it comes to revealing stuff is at least weird to me. Sony only has state of plays. We know they don't really do showcases now. And usually when they do a state of play in the beginning of the year, which is 2025, it's usually some type of agreement that they have with a third party publisher or some kind of marketing. Before, I remember one year when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was coming out, they had to do a state of play because they had some type of marketing deal with Suicide Squad. I forget about the previous year, but I think there was something like that as well. It may have been for Silent Hill 2. So when it comes to first party, they don't have a lot of opportunities to reveal it. So I do think that Sony, they're my dark horse, that they're going to come out, and if Sony does come out with whatever they reveal, if it's a first party capacity, I think it's just going to take over. They're just going to have the biggest bombshell. So just like with Xbox, with the Blade thing, I think if PlayStation shows up and it's Naughty Dog, it's over for everybody else. That's going to take over all the chatter.
Yeah, Sony has prestige there, so I think even Uncharted 5 or Last of Us 3, or even just this is Naughty Dog's next game is going to obviously steal the headlines for sure. Do you think that Ghost of Tsushima 2 was planned to be announced at the Game Awards, but because of the what happened with Concord, the fact that they haven't showed much recently and their fan base was getting slightly irritated and they knew that they didn't show something big enough at the state of play, that there's going to be a lot of backlash. What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to tell with Sony because these guys, this is what's been pissing me off. They just go, now they really seem siloed off to the point where just like we play by our own rules. Nobody's gonna force us to do anything. Like a showcase, that is the number one thing people have been calling for. They don't do it. I think the Game Awards would have been better to reveal Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't know. I don't believe that because Sony just does their own thing now, man. I just don't. I don't really feel that they succumb to some type of peer pressure from from fans, like a small community. Like, who the fuck are these guys telling us? So,
and do you think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Xbox isn't really competing or challenging them as much. So as far as they're concerned, there's no competition.
Yes, yes, especially when it comes to dominating the conversation and what people are talking about. Yeah, I think this is a void that we're gonna miss because there's nobody besides Nintendo, but Nintendo is still they compete in their own realm. Microsoft was one of the people where they had their showcase. They had events where they would show out and go like, all right, we have games. Sony couldn't afford to just be silent.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Xbox games are coming over to their platform, it's like, why do we have to? We'll reveal it when we're ready to reveal it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. If they were under more pressure, we would see them make more consumer-friendly discussions. Not discussions, posts, reviews, games, etc., etc. But yeah, they're at that stage now where I will pivot to this now in a second, but Xbox's biggest game of the year is Indiana Jones. It's coming in 3 months to PlayStation. It's a timed exclusive as far as Sony is concerned. So, they would have loved it to drop day one. But when your competitors bring in their biggest game of the year to your platform, what are we talking about here? There's no competition. So Indiana Jones, have you had a chance to play it yet?
I'm skipping out on this one, bro.
Really?
Yeah. I don't. I've told you before. I'm just not into Indiana Jones. I just think I'm too many generations away from that. Where, again, I don't like to talk smack about older IPs and stuff. I just think for my generation, he didn't age well. Mm-hmm. So I have other people in place of him. So, i.e., Lara Croft, Nathan Drake. Those are the people I know they're not imitating. I know he's the Godfather, but to me, he's imitating them. They're the cool. To me, Lara Croft and Nathan Drake are cooler versions of Indiana Jones to me. So yeah, that's how I explain it. I've aged out. Not aged out, but he's a generation too old for me. It didn't translate.
Man, you sound crazy right now. You're attacking the OG. But I get where you're coming from. He's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
What I will say is, do you at least appreciate or like the fact that they have made the game very different from what you might expect from Lara Croft or Nathan Drake?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do appreciate that because even though I think it would have worked still, it stands out more. It helps the game stand out a lot more. So I heard it's like Dishonored. Is that true?
I think it might have elements of Dishonored in it for sure. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I've just been hearing nothing but great things, and I like that. Like you said, it's a lot more different. Isn't it more from the gameplay? I thought it was a little bit more methodical. Mm-hmm. You could plan more things, you could set up more things. So that's cool. It's just Indiana Jones is just he's not doing it for me, bro. Mm-hmm. He ain't doing it for me.
Yeah. I think Ryan McCaffrey, he described it as a adventure action game. And I keep whenever I think about Indiana Jones, I think about King Kong that came out on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. But here's some quotes from some notable reputable gaming sites. IGN stated, an irresistible global treasure hunt. GamesRadar said, utterly enthralling. GameSpot said,
your mic's cutting in and out again.
What the hell is going on here? Is it okay now?
Keep talking.
GameSpot said, a faithful a faithful rip-roaring adventure. And PC Gamer stated, a damn good video game. Now I'm going to show the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now it's done really well. I think everyone's excited for this game.
Shoot, it's doing it again.
Oh, okay, hold on. I think it might be my nah. Let me just see my on. Wow, I'm on the good internet, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Wow.
Maybe I'll stop. Maybe it's the net. So I'll stop probably streaming the picture. If that might help. But if it happens again, just let me know.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Indiana Jones Metacritic. Last time I checked, Metacritic was at 85 or 86 or so. Let's double check it. Indiana Jones Metacritic Great Circle. So it's currently at 86 out of 100. This actually has it as one of Xbox's highest rated game. Sorry, 87 out of 100. It's 87 out of 100. And on PC, it's also 87 out of 100. That is really impressive. Did you expect that score?
Yeah.
Did you expect it to be at that high?
Yes, I expected it to be this high due to the fact that it's Machine Games. Machine Games had to get back on the right track after Youngblood. I believe this was their follow-up to Youngblood, Wolfenstein Youngblood, and
yes, it was. Yes,
that game was ass. That game was complete trash. So that's something that I'm surprised most people weren't talking about leading up to this game. That this was, it's kind of like, it's almost like a BioWare type situation coming off of Anthem, Dragon Age Veilguard. They got to make up for what they did before. They got to right the wrongs. So I'm glad that they got back, because now we can focus on Wolfenstein 3. I'm glad Machine Games is back to form, and well, actually, I don't even really blame it on them with Youngblood, because that was when I think they were forced to do Youngblood. That was when it was getting into the microtransactions. Bethesda, just like with Fallout 76, they were forcing their companies to make multiplayer games. So that's probably the reason why it failed. But I'm glad that they went back to form. It just, again, I'm gonna keep hating on Indiana Jones, bro. I wish this was a more prominent IP, because I think this would have done this would have been the perfect shotgun blast that Game Pass needed.
Okay. Good ratings overall. I think everyone is happy with it.
Yeah.
And we're at 87, which means that this game has scored more than Starfield right now. I don't think anyone doubts the fact that Starfield brought in more people to Game Pass, sold more Xboxes, and will sell more copies than Indiana Jones. I will have more Game Pass players than Indiana Jones. However, this is a good look for Xbox from a quality perspective. I have two questions on this. The first one is, are we seeing a trend here where a lot of these games, like Starfield, if it was ready even a year before, right? And we're seeing Indiana Jones, doing so well. If this came out even a year before as well, so 2023, Starfield comes out in 2022. We're seeing the Forza game comes out earlier, right? Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if all these Xbox IPs came out a year earlier, do you think Microsoft goes down this third-party this third-party avenue, or do you think there's a situation where, these games are so good, and because they're so consistent and it's earlier on in the year, Xbox actually stays the course and keeps all these games exclusive? My thinking is Xbox initially was aggressive. They did want to compete in this sense. The only reason why they stopped competing was because at some points, from a quality perspective, consumers knew, okay, fine, this is not really it. And however, if Indiana Jones comes out in like 2022, right? If Starfield comes out in 2020, Indiana Jones comes out in 2023, Starfield comes out in 2022, Stalker comes out in 2022. All these other games that are Xbox related, even Halo Infinite comes out a year earlier. Is that enough of a momentum for us to be in a situation where, hey, Xbox doesn't actually need to transition into this third-party situation? Because technically, if I'm talking like this, then it means Fable is the game that comes out in 2024. So take every single one of the IPs and just launch them a year earlier. Do we see third-party Xbox, or do we see competitive Xbox?
Yeah, man. This is a great question. I think there's just my gut feeling. I feel they would have been aggressive and those games would have been exclusive, because at that time it's just Microsoft just wasn't delivering AAA games at that point, big games. And the most important thing with Game Pass that they needed to show was we could at least deliver a consistent product. Every time a game would get delayed, it wouldn't show up. I think that hurt a lot of people, because even if you weren't in the Game Pass ecosystem, I'm excluding the people that already knew about Game Pass, that have an Xbox. The people that are on PlayStation or Nintendo or PC, why there wasn't a reason for Game Pass news to come across their feed, because the games just weren't there. But now that you had games just dropping consistently, now you're having outsiders like the journalists start making articles like, hey, Xbox has been dropping AAA games consistently. We never really got that. And I think that would have changed a lot, just because we're now finally seeing what happens with Game Pass when you're getting consistent games. And it's slowly, I didn't think it was going to work, but Call of Duty has kept me into Game Pass for an extra month that I didn't think. And now that we're talking about it, I know I can't skip out on Indiana Jones, so I have to subscribe a little bit longer. So I think I believe they would have stayed aggressive. I think they would have stayed aggressive with this. Call of Duty still wouldn't have changed. It still would have been coming to PlayStation. But these other games, I don't think all of them would have came over. Like, I think Indiana Jones would have been exclusive. Probably not Doom. I will say Doom probably wouldn't have been an exclusive. But everything else, I think they would have stayed the course.
Okay, I can see. I can see that. I think there would have been, I think it would have been a harder pivot to go towards multi-platform. However, I do think, money was running thin. PlayStation still would have been competitive, so there still would have been that challenge.
Yeah,
we might have seen a delayed reaction, but you never know. It could, because if Starfield drops in 2022 and it does what it does, and then you have obviously Stalker and all these other games dropping in 2023, and then you have a Fable in 2024, that might be enough of consistency to keep gamers actually happy and interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a very good hypothetical. The other one I want to talk about now is, we won't be streaming for too long. I think Coffee might come on in 10 minutes, and then we'll just bounce out after a few questions.
Okay.
But what about this idea of 2024 actually being a good year for Xbox, right? I think when we look at it, we thought it was okay. But when you kind of add Indiana Jones to it, does that change your view on what Xbox has done in 2024? Or are you still of the same feeling of their output and quality this year?
So it's kind of twofold. The Xbox brand was terrible this year. I think that was the bad. That was the only bad thing that happened this year for Xbox. But output-wise, I think they did a very good job with how they ended it. What came out early this year? I think to me, how they ended this year makes up for what happened in the beginning, but not the brand stuff. Again, they killed the Xbox brand this year, but when it comes to output, like you were saying, they did a very good job, and I think it's on par with Sony, with what Sony put out.
Yeah, I think
we check what they put out.
I think I've changed my views on this a little bit right now. The first game that comes to mind is Palworld. I think Palworld is a really good game.
Oh yeah.
And that, kind of had waves, right? Now I know Sony had Black Myth Wukong, but I think what I'll say there is Palworld is more of a global MIP. I think you're gonna find more people playing that game all around the world as opposed to Black Myth. So that's number one. Number two, I would say Palworld is it's now on PlayStation. However, you can see that there's a longer gap, right? Whereas with Wukong, from our understanding, it might actually launch, pretty soon on Xbox. So it's going to be a shorter timed exclusive, I suppose. So that's a win for Xbox right there. The next game that they dropped was Hellblade 2, and despite that game having some issues, its Metacritic is still pretty high. It's in the 80s. So that is a win, regardless of how we might feel about it. And I personally like the game. I thought it was a good game. So 8 out of 10 for me. So just on the face of that, that's 2 wins. Or maybe not a win for Hellblade, but that's 2, products exclusive, good enough games.
Diablo came out on Game Pass.
Diablo came out on Game Pass as well, but I think Game Pass will be a separate discussion.
Okay.
Then the next game that come out is Ara History Untold. Let me see if I can find the Metacritic for Ara History Untold. Ara History Untold Metacritic. Okay, that's 74.
Okay.
So good enough, not great, not too special, but it's different. It's okay. Then we had Stalker 2, which I believe has sold millions. So forget about the freaking sales numbers. Sorry, forget about the Metacritic for a second. It sold millions, so technically that is a win for Xbox right there, right? However, from a Metacritic point of view, it's in the 70s, and that probably has to do with the fact that the game is broken. So not great, but good enough. And then we have Flight Simulator as well, which is another good game. However, people had some tech issues there. And then finally, the last game is Indiana Jones. So if you look at it from a Metacritic point of view, overall they're trending high in the maybe average in the 80s, which is good. Sales wise, they're probably trending really well. I'm guessing Stalker 2 is overachieving there. Palworld definitely overachieved. Hellblade 2 brought it all the way back down. But we'll see what Indiana Jones does. So this does kind of change my views on it a little bit. And it also makes me wonder, hey, listen, can you imagine if Valve was going to drop as well? That would have been a crazy 2024 for Xbox, having all these games.
Yeah.
So, I'm actually changed my views on their output a lot in 2024. I think it's actually been good.
They got to just keep it up, man. They got it. This year, they can't go back after this. That's what I'm be very mad at them if they go back to not having output after this.
Yeah. I guess it's not even about output, it's about quality as well, right? You could give us output, but if those games are average, at that point, who cares?
Yeah.
So I think next year we're gonna expect obviously Avowed. That's early, and we know that game has been finished for some time. Then we're gonna expect Fable. That's gonna be good. I'm not too sure if we're gonna expect Perfect Dark, but I think that'll be a good game to come out. And even South of Midnight. It seems they're being consistent. A game which is good. I think the only problem I have with them at this point is that this has been your rival's weakest years, like PlayStation, and you didn't really take advantage of it. You didn't kick their ass. So when Sony comes out swinging, I think they're probably in a position to overshadow Xbox with their IPs and games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's our talking points. We're pretty much done. Unless there's other topics you know just throw around. Game Awards. Who do you did we talk about who we thought was going to win the Game Awards? Who do you think is
we
gonna
did. We did.
win?
Dude,
Did you say Metaphor?
I said Black Myth.
Black
You
Myth.
said Metaphor.
Yes, this is correct. Yes.
Yes.
Any topics that strike your imagination?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What was that?
I said any topic that strikes your imagination.
I'm trying to think. There just really wasn't much this week. Hold on. What did you check out Marvel Rivals?
I haven't checked it out, but it does look interesting. I love Squirrel Girl. She looks freaking amazing.
Yeah,
I was like, these people know what the hell they're doing right now. Like,
yeah, bro.
you want to see? Have you tried it out?
Yeah, I tried it out. Dude, I'm so surprised. Yo, it's a blatant ripoff of Overwatch, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just so many characters that are just like, oh, this is like Tracer, this is Diva. Like Hulk functions pretty much like Diva.
Mm-hmm.
You could jump in and out. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. Like it's fun, but like it's gonna do good because hey, you copy from the best. That's just what it is. You copy from the best. So you gotta do what you gotta do. It's fun game. I don't know how much.
Would you say that they're using the Marvel IP to sell the game? Like if this game was a different IP,
this is like a 70-30 when it comes to carrying. Like the IP is carrying more of the weight than the gameplay.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
smart enough. They got the IP, and they're trying to take over Overwatch, and you're gonna do that. And you don't want to really be innovative. Then you just gotta grab an IP that's recognizable. So
Yeah.
good luck to them on that front. I think something that's interesting that I took a note down that maybe I should talk about is, when these fucking losers talk about how the game industry is bad now, games suck, and all this kind of crap that they crap out. I point to the fact that like Marvel Rivals has 450,000 Steam concurrent players, right? And people seem to like it enough. And Path of Exile just came out, and that has about 500,000 Steam concurrent players, and it's doing extremely well. And people are really happy with that game, right? So I guess in 2024, the year, in this situation where we have all these bad games, we'll have a lot of good games. And I was talking to my friend earlier on, and I told him like it's not crazy how like people still want to talk about fucking Concord and Dustborn, these terrible apparently wokey games, when you could be talking about Path of Exile instead, the Marvel game, Metaphor, etc. So I think this is good. I think the industry is making games that people want, and I believe a lot of the complaints just comes from a point of they're seeing more games that doesn't appeal to them, and they're upset. But there's a lot of games that appeals to them. They just don't want to talk about it. They like this victim complex a lot more. I understand the Dragon Age complaint, but I was talking to and I asked you this question to see what you think. I was talking to some of the guys, and they said how the writing for games have gotten a lot worse than they were in the past. And I don't know if that's true or not, right? But I just kind of gave this point. When I was a kid, I played Crash, I played Spyro, I played, all these games that didn't have amazing writing. So what am I comparing it to exactly? And I told one of the guys, because one of the guys said, well, he said Final Fantasy came out, years ago, when we were all kids on the PlayStation, that had amazing writing. And then my response was, wait, are we saying Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth don't have good writing? Because if you're making this comparison, you got to compare it to now. Are we saying Metaphor doesn't have good writing? Are we saying Cyberpunk doesn't have good writing? Are we saying Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't have good writing? Like, what is the argument that we're actually making here? I don't understand. Well, I could be wrong. So I'll put it to you. Do you think writing in stories has gotten worse? Or are we just more critical And are we just are we just more critical and seeing things through um, tinted lenses?
Yo, could you repeat that? You were breaking up.
Ah, shit. I was saying, do you think writing has gotten worse from the past, or do you think that we just have way more games, so by default there is potentially more
No.
games that
So
suck?
yeah, writing? Do you think writing has gotten worse?
Yes,
Right.
storytelling in video games.
Okay. I would disagree. I don't think the writing has gotten worse for video games. I played Banishers Ghost of New Eden. That came out this year. That had very good writing. I think Flintlock Siege of Dawn, even though the gameplay wasn't that good, the writing was competent. It wasn't jarring, to say the least. Most recently, the two games that stand out to me have been both from WB, and that is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and Gotham Knights. Those had the most like jump out bad writing. Like those were the games that at least stuck out to me. Like the writing was just complete shit. The jokes, all of that, but I don't know where people are acting like they're goddamn script writers when they're talking about the script writing. Because I don't think games have gotten worse with the dialogue and writing. At least with the story. The stories have been competent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
There's not. Yeah, it's weird. It's always like some fucking small community of people just being bitches, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They find one game, and it's usually, again, it's a quote unquote woke game, and then they say it's got bad writing because there's probably some joke talking about, hey, criticizing white men, and then they hate it. So it's hard to believe these guys, because what games are you fuckers playing to say that?
I even got in an argument with a guy, and I was saying like people need to stop playing games talking about games that they don't care about, they don't like, and he was like, "Oh well, we can." I'm like, I mean, yeah, of course you can. I just don't know why it's a valuable use of your time to talk about games you hate and talk about games that you don't like, and actually not play games that you do like. Like I don't understand why you keep talking about Dustborn, like motherfucker, like
Yeah.
one game, like it's one bad game or whatever it is that you think is different. And even if it is different, yeah, are you saying this game shouldn't exist? Are you saying you're so special that all games must be made for you? Like it's so silly, you know. Like this game, when I was a kid as well, right? There was games that were made that were for me. Obviously, that's fine, you know. But these people are so entitled. So
it's so annoying because it's like I can almost get it to a degree, like especially with this again woke stuff. Like I know people had a problem, for instance, with Alan Wake 2. There was a line where Saga says something along the lines of like, well, I'm not a middle-aged white guy. So people take that one line and they just blow it completely out of proportions, right? So it's like a lot of these guys, they gotta be guys. A lot of these guys don't like writing like that. And it just completely throws them off. But if it's not in their face, they think it's like it's completely different. They view it just completely differently. And I don't know why that affects it so much. You know what I mean? Like, why does that a line like that affect you so much to the point where you're saying DI needs to die, woke games, this all, like, just all this bitching?
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Here's one. Who do you think is gonna win the video game adaptation award? Is it gonna be Arcane or is it going to be Fallout?
It's probably gonna be Arcane. It's probably gonna be Fallout, because Fallout is like, Arcane is season 2. You know what I mean? It's been there, done that.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from. It's like, why would? Because didn't it win the first time?
I'm not too sure actually, because it came out years ago. So we're talking about probably
Arcane.
2017,
Okay. Yeah. Let me
2019.
see. Because 20.
But also, we got to keep in mind that over 100 million viewers have watched Fallout, so it's big, right? It's really
Yeah.
big. It's
So
kind of broken the zeitgeist.
yeah. So the best, I think it won best adaptation in
Mhm.
2022 at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's well
And then-
deserved.
Yeah, and then 2024 it's up again. So I think it's gonna be Fallout. Fallout is more. I know Arcane just came out season 2, but again, it's been there, done that. Fallout had more of a buzz within the community. Not even just the community. A lot of people were fucking with it. So yeah. I think Fallout. I think Fallout's a pretty safe bet. I'd be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah, same here. I'll be more than shocked. Anyways, in terms of what's happening in 2025, we don't know too much about Sony's plans because they haven't really revealed many. But we know Ghost of Tsushima has come out in 2025. We know Kojima's game Death Stranding 2 is coming out in 2025. That might be a timed exclusive. It might be multi-platform. We don't know yet, but we kind of presume there'll be some kind of timed exclusive deal on it. So that's 2 games from Sony's side. And on the Xbox side, I think Fable is supposed to be launched out of midnight. And maybe even potentially Arc 2 might actually finally drop right. But just based on what we know so far, who do you think is... Obviously, we can't forget that Nintendo is going to be dropping Pokemon and the Switch 2. So just
You're
based on
breaking
that...
up.
God damn it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win? Not win, but who do you think is in a good position for 2025 in terms of the big 3 companies?
Oh, the big 3 companies.
I think the easy answer is Nintendo because they dropped the Switch 2, right?
The Switch 2.
Yeah, the Switch 2, along with Pokemon and stuff.
So I'm gonna actually say this. I think it goes Nintendo, Xbox, then Sony.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I put Sony last is because, yeah, unpopular opinion here, I'm not as excited for Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that trailer really did it for me. And I know this doesn't apply to all, but looking at the people's reactions, it's not I thought the hype would have been bigger when the game would have been revealed. So I think that's telling. Also, their live service initiative. It has not been off to a good start. Helldivers, yes, that was big, but it's falling off. Concord, we know the story of Concord. So Sony is still in this weird limbo state where we know we're getting their first party single player games, but we just don't know when they're coming. But when it comes to their live service games, a lot of people are feeling rocky because the last thing was Concord. So I think they're gonna be in more of a prove it in 2025 because they're one trick pony in terms of being a single player studio. Yes, that's working. I'm not saying that that's not working, but they're now needing to prove it in terms of the multiplayer. So I think that's the reason why it's last. Xbox is starting off the year right with Avowed. They got Perfect Dark coming out. They got some good games coming out, and then you always can rely on them at the end of the year now because of Call of Duty. So I think they're going to be in a good position to have a good 2025.
Yeah, I think that's accurate from Xbox. In fact, from Avowed, one of the senior leads of the game said, we want to just constantly foster the sense of exploration and wanderlust. So I think this was in reference to the fact that they want you to be able to start off a mission in multiple different ways. So here's a quote. He says, we want to just constantly foster that sense of exploration, wanderlust, and just getting lost pleasantly. I'm just excited to try and kill literally every single NPC in the game before launch. Okay, that's not the quotes. I think almost every, if not every quest in the game has its more than one way to start it. You can do things out of order and pick up items and give them to people that want them, or kill a character or whatever. Like, you can play things out in order. You can come out a dungeon or vice versa from a different direction than you normally would. And we want you to be able to do that just based on however you naturally progress throughout the world. Two things. One, do you think Avowed is going to do a good job in carrying that momentum for Xbox after Indiana Jones? And two, do you think that with the launch of Dragon Age Veilguard and how that game was received inconsistently, with some of the complaints saying, hey, listen, it feels like, HR's in the room. It feels like we can't be bad or kill things. And Avowed is coming out of nowhere saying, oh, you can kill motherfuckers. You can do whatever you want. You can be evil.
Yeah.
You can be all these things. Do you think that's going to make, launch Avowed into more of the zeitgeist for these gamers after experiencing Dragon Age?
I believe so. One of the people, when I need to get a review for a game, I like Skill Up, the YouTube channel, and he played a preview of Avowed, and he was saying that he was coming right off of Veilguard, and he just had heaps of praise for the game. So far what he was playing, he said the writing was a lot better. The characters feel more alive, but then he was saying the choices really matter in that game, and that's what got me on board with it. He said just being in the world, it feels like there's just more to it, and them going small, not big, actually makes it feel a little bit more bigger in a weird kind of way. So I think this could be that game that Xbox needs, where, all right, like, people can now look at a game and go, yo, I want an Xbox for this game.
Yeah, I think
it's always the silent ones. Yeah.
I think it's a consistency, Indiana Jones, good game, and then this as well, another good game. Especially this should keep the Game Pass players happy. Moving on to another question for you. There's a lot of pushback for live service games. People have been crying, saying we don't want them. They suck. Concord sucks. XDefiant sucks. However, Marvel Rivals debuts with one of the biggest free-to-play launches in Steam history after the year-long live service bloodbath. Is this an exception, or is it a case that, live service games are popular? It's just XDefiant and Concord didn't make them right?
Yes. You're at an all-time. If you come out with any multiplayer game, the competition is rough.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough. You gotta be the best. You gotta be up there. You gotta offer something that the rest are not offering, or you gotta offer that, but your game has to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Rivals has Marvel. That's what makes it stand out. XDefiant was Ubisoft's properties. They had you were running around as DedSec. Like, people really gave a fuck about Dead. Like, you gotta know what you're doing with a multiplayer game this generation. You can't just put shit out. So no, free-to-play games are going to stick around. It just comes down to the market. If the market is saying we rock with this game, people are going to play it. But you can always tell when people are not rocking with something. You can always tell. But at the end of the day, you just have to offer something that's better than your competition.
Mm-hmm. I would agree there as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with free-to-play games themselves, and I think people are willing to try them out and enjoy them. But if you're different and you're unique, then people will play you. And Marvel, obviously, Rivals has the aesthetics to go with it, and it also has, you know, the Marvel Light license IP, and it's free to play, so people are gonna check it out. I think what they need to worry about though is the fact that, like, hey, it's free to play game. People might just be playing it now, and they might dip, you know, in like a month or so. But you know, we'll see how that pans out. Here's another one for you. It Takes Two developers' next game is reportedly titled Split Fiction, and it's set for March 2025. 2 points. Do you think we see it at the Game Awards? 1. And 2, what are you expecting from this game? Are you expecting something similar to what we got with It Takes Two? Or are you expecting this story to be a bit more serious like their previous game?
So the report I saw, it said it was going to be at the Game Awards.
Okay.
So I do think it's going to be at the Game Awards. I think, like you said, I believe this is probably going to be a little bit more. The tone is going to be more serious compared to It Takes Two. That was more like a more laid back, fun story. Definitely a fun story. This, from the title, Split Fiction, I think this is going to be more serious back to their original games. It's kind of hard to guess what they're doing. I saw the one picture that they posted a while ago it was 2 girls in a mocap suit. So maybe it's going to be 2 girl characters in the game. So who knows? I just know anything they put out is just it's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. And for me, that's all who grew up playing split screen games. They really add something to that genre, and it's something not to be forgotten about. Mm-hmm. Do you play their games?
I've played It Takes Two. I haven't finished it yet because whenever I'm playing it with someone, we end up stop talking. So breakups happen, man.
Breakups happen, bro.
So I'm like, God damn it! And then I started a whole new game with someone new, and then the same shit happens again. It's like, fucking hell! I've been through this mission like 10 times now. Like, can we just like finish this game?
Yeah, for real, bro. I always wanted to play with a shorty. I haven't played with a girl yet. Like,
man, it can be frustrating because they just don't get it sometimes. I'm like, yeah, just jump on the platform, and they'll jump and they'll die like 20 times. I'm like, bro, just jump on the fucking platform. It's simple, okay? When it comes towards you, press X and up, and you land. And then they get,
so I never played before.
Why you be mean to me? I'm like,
like, yo, nah, bro, just follow instructions, dog. Like,
yeah, I know.
I'm fuck, man.
Yeah, you need patience to play with some people. But they're just, let me never get into it. I sound like an asshole. So let's just move on from that talking point. Street Fighter has, I believe Mai is coming to Street Fighter from the Guilty Gear franchise. Let me actually play the trailer instead. Can you see the screen? Yeah, so she's coming through.
If I piqued your interest, I can teach you all the Shiranui techniques you can handle. Come find me in Aokigahara. Don't keep a good girl waiting.
Wow. Capcom. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. She's hot. She's fucking hot. God
yeah.
Damn.
So she's coming through, and she seems to be the same as her other iterations. Do you think that's one? These kind of mix-ups are good for fighting games in general. So would you like to see Mortal Kombat has been doing it for some time, right? They've been including different IPs like the Terminator. Do you want to see Street Fighter and all these other fighting games, like even, let's say, the Tekken game, start to include other characters from different games on a regular basis, like DLCs? Or do you think that's just going to dilute the franchise, and it's going to be complicated from a moveset point of view.
Some get Street Fighter. I think it's gotta be the right collab. It's gotta be the right. Like, I like how what's it called? How Mortal Kombat does it, because I feel like they don't. Who they pick isn't far out of the possibility in that universe. Let me just say that. For Tekken, I don't want goddamn Superman to show up in Tekken or something. Like, I don't want superheroes to show up in Tekken. So it depends on the characters you're gonna add. But I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I think it's a good way to kind of bring eyes on an IP, right? And
Yeah.
get those fans to come and check it out. So I'm definitely for that. So that's pretty much kind of most of the news, and I think we've been we're actually getting close to the hour mark, so that's actually not too bad. That was kind of what we're aiming for anyway. So any other news before we head off? And the Game Awards is next week, right?
What was that?
The Game Awards is next week, right?
Yeah, the 12th, this Thursday.
Oh, the 12th. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I guess we could talk again after that. I think before that, but yeah, I think after that we'll be live again to kind of comment on what we liked, what we didn't like, and how. I hope there's no controversy in the show. I just hope it's just games and let's say like no cringe moments really. No actors talking too long, no people being ushered off stage really, really fast. Just let it be a good time for everyone to enjoy, and celebrate this wonderful art form that we love to play. Yeah.
Yo, one of these times we gotta. I'd love to talk like politics and stuff with you.
Sure. Yeah, sure. No, I'm game for that. I'm cool.
Yeah, because I want to know more about like just Americans and shit. Just only knowing their news. I like to know others around the world. I like to know shit about around the world.
Yeah, sounds good to me. But yeah, man. Listen, I guess.
All right, man. Always a pleasure, bro.
Yeah, listen. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.
You too, bro. Take care. Stay safe.